Good afternoon. We've now been joined by Dennyu Hamlin, driver of the number 11 FedEx Cares Toyota. And Denny, we'll open up with a question related to your sponsor and paint scheme this weekend. You have the opportunity to drive a really neat paint scheme that has a really good meaning behind it. Talk a little bit about that and what it means to be able to promote that this weekend for FedEx.
Yeah, it's obviously, the FedEx 400 benefiting Autism Speaks, and it's a great relationship we've had with Autism Speaks over the last few years, and obviously it's kind of a spinoff from that. But the FedEx Care paint scheme is more of an appreciation for the nearly 70,000 hours that all the employees have put in at FedEx. FedEx has donated over $45 million, and has 10 connected charities that they donate to each and every year. So this is just as a spin-off of that, and it's just a kind of a thank you for the time that those employees have put in. And obviously FedEx Cares is a car that is carrying a new paint scheme, and obviously on FedEx 400 weekend we'd like to win for them.
We'll go ahead and take questions for Denny. If you have one, please raise your hand and state your name and affiliation, and we'll start with Taylor.
Hi, Taylor Star, NASCAR.com. You mentioned last week that possibly playing golf and tennis all day attributed to your dehydration after the Coke 600. So are there any measures or preparations you've taken leading up to this weekend to ensure that doesn't happen again?
Well, we also had an exhaust leak in the car. We blew a hole in our in our header and exhaust system that was leaking in the car, and that didn't help at all either. We also were running the Xfinity race the day before. We're not doing that this week. So, you just got to be prepared. I felt like I'd kept up with my fluids pretty well last week, but obviously it wasn't enough. I've got to go above and beyond, but obviously the conditions in the car didn't make things very easy for me. The headache had nothing to do with the dehydration. The migraine that I suffered, what I felt like was from the exhaust inside the car.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Denny, you talked about after the Martinsville win just about how Brad raced you at the end and showed you that respect. You said, you would pay that back to him at one point. Have you had the chance to pay that back in that way? And can you kind of talk about the evolution of that relationship with Brad? Because I know obviously there was a time where the payback meant something different between you two guys. How did it get repaired?
Well, I think that you get older, you get wiser, and you figure out what it takes to be successful at this level of racing. And I think that Brad went through a time when we were racing together that I'd been here a few more years longer than what he had. I was racing what I thought was the correct way. He was racing what he thought was the correct way. And who knows what the correct way is, but those two clashed. And, I felt like, he raced with a chip on his shoulder as well as, he felt like he needed to at the time to prove himself and get himself in a good ride. He did that. And once he got to that top level, I thought that his attitude and the way that he raced on track changed, and I thought he became more successful when that did change. So, that's just my general opinion of it. I no issues with Brad whatsoever. Now I feel like we raced together great. Obviously the respect he paid me at Martinsville was, two guys racing for a win. Typically you don't want to wreck anyone for a win. He didn't. He did what you would feel would be by the rule. You maybe you rough someone up or you rub them a little bit, but you don't take them out. He did all those things, and obviously if I'm in that same situation as him, second to him, I would do the same and pay that respect back in that type of way. But we haven't had that chance, obviously not running 1-2 here lately. So it'll all come back around, and really you just kind of build a bank of currency when it comes to respect from these guys, and you get it here and there.
Okay. Additional questions for Denny? All right, we'll go to Scott, please.
Scott Walsh from the Scranton Times. Denny, could you talk a little bit about what Carl has brought to the team this year? Talking to him earlier, he said you guys have been working really well together as a team. Can you just talk about what he's brought to Gibbs Racing?
Well, it's been really good working with him. Obviously, he's got a lot of knowledge and he's really talented. So I'd say really he's just brought an extra element, more information for me to be able to process every single week. I think that he's really good at a few racetracks that I feel like I really struggle at. So I lean on him for that information. I've been running Xfinity quite a bit, and so I haven't been able to be with him in the debriefs as much as I'd like to, but since that schedule is starting to taper itself down now, I'll be able to use him quite a bit more. But I feel like he's very detailed in all of the talkings that I go through him with, and he's just going to be that next guy at JGR that's going to push you to the next level.
All right, we'll go to Bob.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. The new rules for pit crews start next week as far as the fireproof underwear and head socks and everything, with maybe the fastest pit crew on pit road. Any concern from you from a driver standpoint that just the new rules will impact their speed?
I would think, I would think it's some way it would hinder speed, but it's going to be the same for everyone. So hopefully everyone takes that step back. But my guys obviously are exceptional. They find ways around, getting slowed up by anything else. So I'm sure they'll do the same for that. But I think it's a great step on NASCAR's part to make that mandatory. It's something that's definitely needed around that pit area. Anytime there's lug nuts flying around or sparks flying and fuel, you're going to have the chance of what's happened with those RCR teams the last few weeks. So obviously a great step, and it's just something that the team guys will all adapt to for sure.
Any additional questions for Denny? All right, Denny, we appreciate your time and wish you best of luck this weekend.